Very good. Wonderful. So the manager of the Leighton Hall is going to have some announcements for us.
Quick moment of your time. Welcome. Just wanted to, a couple of quick housekeeping things. The only thing we allow on stage is water. So
I think that our society is very visual. Our society is now very driven by visual expressions on television, in film, even in video games. And I believe that actually the visual can bring us back to the oral. You hear a lot in the press that classical music is in demise because people are not taught how to hear. They cannot concentrate. But I do think that if we have the complete art form, the Gesamtkunstwerk, then you can draw the audience in whichever way they have a natural inclination, and then they can then be drawn to experience the music. I believe very strongly that the conductor of the 21st century is an interdisciplinary artist. Choral conductors in particular will come to it naturally because choral music is intrinsically an interdisciplinary art form because of the relationship between the text and the music. For the 7 last words, we did insert the text because James MacMillan worked this composition by troping the original text from the Gospel with texts from the Holy Friday services. And therefore, the troping in itself is a form of art. Technology would help the audience have the full dimension of the piece, because then they could reflect, even as they read, a little bit on the act of the troping. Because two texts influence each other, and perhaps the meaning is driven to a particular emotional point by the mixing of the two texts. And it was done very subtly. We have now PowerPoint presentations, and this theater has these beautiful dark walls, and we projected the text very subtly. And I understand that it was very useful to get the full measure of the piece on a first listening. When we are conducting, we are also integrating movement clearly. That movement is not only to make people sing together or to sing loud or soft. That movement is also expressing the structure of the piece and the emotional content of the piece. The audience is actually reading our gestures, and in the reading of the gestures, they understand the structure of the piece. That makes us feel more responsible, because clearly one should not fake the piece. One has to really study the piece and study the whole content that comes with the piece, the content of the composer's experience, his society, his time. All this needs to come to the fore through our gesture.
Just to make sure that it's marking your part a certain way, I will not conduct during those 3 bars. But I will definitely...
Started out with some pretty rough rehearsals, but Carmen had a very clear idea of where she wanted to go with the piece from the very beginning.
We also tested presenting the piece not strictly in a conventional concert format. We separated the role of the soloist that plays in the 3rd movement. Today you will be in paradise. We had the soloist performing from the balconies. So normally in concert this is done by the concertmaster. In this case we invited the fabulous virtuoso in our faculty at Notre Dame, Tricia Park. And then she played it from the balcony. because it evoked the tableaus of the Renaissance, scenes of the crucifixion, where you see that angels in the clouds are also mourning the crucifixion. And it's just a very subtle remembrance of that. But also, the composition was about a moment of grace where Jesus has this promise of redemption to one of the thieves. And the remembrance of those tableaus of the Renaissance also helped in the perception.
We did so much work for the rehearsals. We had started rehearsing several months before, and just to have the whole culmination come together, especially after all of the long days we had discussing sacred music, and we had such a diverse sort of group at the conference, and then to be able to present the work we did for all these experts in the field was just a great opportunity.
We must go to all kinds of sources. We must go to folk music, we must go to liturgical drama of the Middle Ages, we must even observe what people do in the concerts, what people do in rock concerts, what people do when they get together spontaneously and they react in political gatherings, anything that will let us observe how people open up and become part of a movement, of an action together, artistically. We have to explore all that very, very freely, and that's what I hope that we will study here at Notre Dame.